In TermWeb, an administrator can administrate the terminology and the dictionaries in the administration panel. As an administrator, when I log in, I have access to this panel, and as TermWeb is a completely web-based software, we don't need to have separate clients or other software to do this. As you can see here, I have a number of functions at hand. I have my dictionary wizard where I create my new dictionaries, the dictionaries button where I can edit my dictionaries, the section where I can create my new sections and administrate my sections. In this example, we will show how to create and administrate a new dictionary in TermWeb. As an administrator, I am now logged in my administration panel and administration view, and I select the new dictionary wizard. I now enter the name for my new dictionary and I click Next. TermWeb is a true Unicode software, which means that I have a vast amount of languages supported, as you can see here, both when it comes to the terminology itself, but also when it comes to the user interface. Let's say that I would like to have the common world languages here, and I can select, for instance, by clicking on pressing Control button and clicking at the same time. I can select as the ones that are according to my needs, and then I can click and move up and down and reindex so that I get the order of the languages that I want. For instance, if I want to have English on top and Greek as a second language, I can do like this. Now I'm ready to click Next again. TermWeb is also one of the first systems to support TBX, and therefore you have the TBX fields available during the creation of the dictionary, so that if you would like to create your dictionary according to TBX, you have this support from the start. Let's say that I would like to have the definition and the source field on the concept level. I can again move up and down so that they have the order of my needs, and then I press Next to define my term levels. Again, this is according to TBX, so let's say that I would like to have an example field and process status field on a term level. Now I am almost done. I press Next, and now my dictionary is created when I press Finish. You can see here that I just created my company dictionary and the date that it was created. I can also export the dictionary definition to an XML file, which I can send to another user who can then import it in their TermWeb and get the structure that I just created. If I go into my search view and select my company dictionary, the one that I just created, I can see the languages and the order that I wished for, and I have the filters and the default section created as well. Let's say now that this is not enough and that I would like to edit my dictionary. In TermWeb, this can be done on the fly, which means that at the same time as others are searching and creating terminology, in the background, I as an administrator can edit the dictionary structure. In TermWeb, there are locking mechanisms to protect the database will not be corrupted. So there is no need to send a message company-wide to everyone and say that in this date we will be doing this and this and this in the dictionary. In TermWeb, we do it on the fly in the background continuously. The way I edit my dictionary is to click on the dictionaries. I select my company dictionary, which is the one that I would like to edit, and you can see here the information, the name, the languages, and the fields. The concept level fields marked with the TBX, and the term level fields marked as well as with TBX. Let's say now that I would like to add my own field, because in some cases TBX might not be enough. Here I can have a number of fields according to TBX, but I can also create my new custom field. I click my new custom field and I continue. You can see here I can enter a name, and I can set it as a multi-line, single line, a pick list, or incremental value. I can also select if it's Unicode or Latin 1, And if the value is required, which means that I have to have a value in the field, otherwise I cannot save my concept. Also, allowed value, if it's any text or it has to be a number and so on. And the minimum and maximum amount of characters. Let's say that I would like to have a multi-line field. I save this. And you can see here now that I just created it in the concept level. Let's say that I would like to add a language variant for the English language. I simply mark the language and I edit. TermWeb is very much based and supports the different ISO standards. As you can see here, we have the languages based on the ISO 16391 and 16392. Now, as I wanted to have a geographical variance, and as the selected language is English, you can see that we have the regions that correspond to the language. Let's say that in this case I would like to have United Kingdom and American English. I can also create my own region. Orthographical variants are also defined by exactly the same manner, and it's for languages such as, for instance, Japanese, that have the different variants or in orthographical variants. Now I'm saving this, and I now save the changes that I just created to my dictionary. When I now enter my search view, you can see that the English language has the variants, and this is also a way to filter my results, because now I can create and filter the United Kingdom English terminology and the United States, which is a simple way to see if it's American English that we are using or British English. If I just click on my new concept and edit the concept level fields, you can now see that I just created my private field, which is a multi-level field, multi-line field, exactly as I defined from the start. The history for the complete dictionary structure, every event that happens marks it with a history item. And for instance, this is very useful because I can also undo such functions like an import, because in some cases you might do an import and then see that the result was not as expected. In a normal situation you would have to find a backup and try to restore, but in our case we can simply undo the import because we have a history of everything that's happening in your dictionary. Edit domains you can do here. I can click and show how this is done. Let's say that I would like to create new domains. I simply right click, my add my domain, and depending on where I right click and add the domain, I get on different levels. Now if I would like to have a subdomain in IT, I simply right click on IT and add domain. And now I have created this domain structure, which if I go back in my search view, you see here, and I can now create concepts and place them in the different domains. All these domains I can edit on the fly and whenever I so wish. If I go back to my admin, subclasses and views are used in order to hide specific fields. For instance, I can create a view, show definition, and let's define this view. So I only want to see definition on a concept level, and I want to hide all the fields in the term level. Now this view that I create, as it is defined, will only show the definition field and concept level. I can then apply it to the user group, and then when users log in, they will only see the terminology with the definition field only. Now when I create this view here, I can now apply it in my group, as you can see here. And here I can apply my view, which was show definition. What this means is that when users in this user group log in, they will only see the definition field.